The state of Indiana is suing popular social media app TikTok for endangering children. Wow, there's something to this story.
Yep.
Okay, as you know, I handle sex trafficking all over the country. Matter of fact, I just gave a speech in London about it 2 weeks ago because it's become such a problem in London. So as I look at this story, if we're sitting here believing that what China is doing with TikTok is benevolent, that, hey, we're just looking at the business aspect of it, there is some really good information that tells us they know exactly what's going on with human trafficking and sex trafficking.
Yeah, 100%. And this lawsuit specifically, it doesn't get into those issues. I think as it progresses, they're finally going to...
That's where it's going.
But they kind of did a little superficial, like, hey, you're exposing them to mature content and you're stealing their data, which is a huge problem in and of itself. But you're right. The bigger issues are the ones that are going to come out. And hopefully, I think maybe this lawsuit was filed the way it was to get to the discovery point, to be able to get their hands on that.
This is that first step.
Yeah.
I can tell you, you're going to see states do this. The DOJ does what the DOJ does. Just like the opioid crisis, they have to be pushed and cajoled and beat over the head and shamed to do anything. Back to the tobacco case that we started, the opioid case that we started, 87 pharmaceutical cases that we have started in this law firm. Every time we go to the DOJ and say, look, here it is, PFAS, here it is. It's all here for you. Go prosecute somebody. They don't have the guts to do it. I don't know whether it's a lack of talent. What I'm reading right now is it potentially is a lack of talent. But the states can be more effective on this. There's already 3 states that are already going after TikTok. And you've got the government at least saying you can't use TikTok on our government sites, right?
Yeah, Alabama, just a couple days ago, became the most recent state to join in on that. And we're already, it's great that Indiana's filed this lawsuit, but we're already so behind Europe.
Oh, completely. Explain that. People don't understand what you just said, but that's very true.
You have countries all across Europe, the United Kingdom kind of leading the way. They've been sounding the alarm about TikTok. Yeah. They have been doing these investigations. They're already in the process of preparing, I think, the $29 million fine on these companies for what they're doing to children and what they're exposing them to. And we're just at the point where we're saying, okay, well, we're going to now launch investigations. They're concluding theirs, and we're just launching ours.
Farron, here's what they're concluding that scares the hell out of me. They're concluding that they're using the child's contact with TikTok to get into the parents' systems. They even have it, come on, parent, sign up with your child so you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
What that leads to is they're getting into the entire household. All of the information in the entire household now becomes at the fingertips of China. Not only that, but there's so much material showing that what they're showing in America, they're not allowed to show in China where it comes to children. You can't show the caliber of things you're showing in the U.S. or Canada or South America. You can't show that in China because they know it has some really destructive and very dangerous possibilities, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Europe leading the way on this. They've led the way on so many social media sites. Facebook, they're going hard as hell. Ireland.
Tell us that story. We just did this story, but Ireland said, look, U.S., if you're not going to do anything about it, we are, because this is bad stuff.
Yeah, once again, the same kind of thing, the data theft, the monopolization of these companies. Regulators in Europe say, look, this isn't going to fly. You may be based in the U.S., you're doing business here. We have much stricter rules, and by God, we're going to enforce them. I mean, we have the same rules here in the U.S. We just don't ever enforce them. So it's interesting to see that the U.S. is always having to play catch up to what the regulators over there are doing.
What is it with the Department of Justice? Give me your take. Have you seen the movie Dope Stick?
Not yet.
Dope Sick. We're going to do a segment on it. When you watch this, you will be horrified about how the Department of Justice put limitations on some very good U.S. attorneys who were doing their job. Had the Department of Justice done their job, we would have made the problem go away. As you know, I'm handling that case. We just settled another one with CVS. We've settled now with AmerisourceBergen. We've settled with McKesson. We've settled with Cardinal. We've settled with some of the biggest distributors in the country. But because of the conduct of the Department of Justice, the Sacklers are still running free with billions of dollars all over this country. So I really recommend that you take a look at DopeSick to understand why we can't count on government doing anything where it comes to important issues like TikTok. Yep. It's a really, really informative. Lobbyists have found a new way to outsmart politicians and get them to attend their new lobbyist corporate events. Okay, Farron, why don't you lay this one out?
What's happening here is that, I think the best way to put it, as the Intercept said, they're exploiting the appetite for virtue signaling is what these lobbyists are doing. So they put together these events and they say, hey, Democratic lawmakers, we've got this diversity gala tonight. Yeah. We would love for you to come because we're celebrating how, the new diversity of the new Congress. We want your black lawmakers, your Latino lawmakers. We want you all to come in and be part of this inclusion. And then as soon as they say, well, of course I have to go to this, I have to be seen going to the diversity event. Yeah. And basically then you're locked in a room with lobbyists for 4 or 5 hours and they're pitching you on, we got the list of the companies here. JP Morgan, MasterCard, Exxon, Apple, Airbnb, Toyota, Reynolds, which is tobacco.
Target, Walgreens, Amgen, Google.
All of the big pharma, big business, all of them.
Again, it's the same thing we talked about in the other story, right? The new love speak, the love speak for woke America. The love speak is, like we talked about in the union case, don't fire, don't start a union. You're going to put poor Joe out of a job here. He's going to school. He needs the money. We're all one big family. Can't we just embrace and have a kumbaya moment? This is the same thing, okay? While they have the LGBT groups, while they have the Black Women's Caucus there, while they have these diverse folks there that are all doing their job in their world and its important work, we have these folks that are price fixing, they're price gouging, they're anti-labor action underway, they're consumer espionage underway. They have consumer fraud almost every week. You hear another one about one of these banks that's ripping people off. These are the people that are coming in with this new love agenda. We're all one big happy family, and all of this message that we're just like you. They're nothing like these people in the room. And the sad part is, it works. The sad part is those people go out of the room, and when that lobbyist that served them a martini or, shrimp cocktail has to meet with them about something that's going to take people's rights away, they say, oh, yeah, remember our party?
Yeah, and that's what's so disgusting about this. But it shows, look, these lobbyists have found a way to outsmart the politicians because you basically make them the offer they can't refuse. Are you really going to not show up to a diversity event? You know how bad that's going to look with your constituents? They don't want to see you snubbing all of these diverse people. So they've got them between a rock and a hard place. They know that they're not going to look beyond what that invitation says. Who is Farrak's strategy putting this on? They're not going to look at that. They're going to show up, get their picture taken, be out in social media. But it's really just a way for the lobbyists to get them in a corner and say, listen, my drug company here, we're just getting hammered. We need all this, benefits from you. I need a favor. That's what it is.
Yeah, they'll bring in the other thing is to bring in the celebrity voices, right?
Yeah.
Like we really need to listen to celebrity. Did you see the story? Chelsea Handler's sister, honest to God, said Chelsea Handler, until she was 27 years old, believed that the moon was the same thing as the sun. Did not know that there were two separate and distinct. I'm not making that up. Look it up. Google it. She believed it was the same. So that's the celebrity voice that's supposed to lead these people into good decision making. Scares the hell out of me.